I invited the manager to have her team do the Clifton Strengths Assessment, and she sent all the results through to me. Then what we did is we plotted those results onto a strengths team grid. And I shared this team grid with the manager as well as with the team during a team session. I'd like to share this with you. And then, Yendor, I want to ask you to provide some insights for us on this team grid.
Happy to do that, Margriet. I'm very pleased that you've selected this one as an example. And, even during these times of the pandemic, even good teams actually do need help. And what we're trying to say to teams is that working hard is great, working smart is a little bit better, and the Strengths Insights will certainly help with that. But it is no admission of failure if you need some help. I think it's just useful just to help folk understand how to navigate and actually read a team grid. So the way to think about it is on the left-hand side, you'll see this team is made up of 9 people. Their names are there from Cherise, Cindy, Christelle down to Zoe. Just to let you know, we do have permission for this team to share this as a case study. On the top of the team strength grid, you'll see categories, and they're color coordinated or coded, starting with strategic thinking in the red, influencing in the yellow, blue is relationship building, and purple is execution. Our view around teams is that a team has to be able to do all 4 of these to be successful. So we're not looking at a well-rounded, evenly distributed strengths pattern, but we need strengths to operate in all 4 areas to be successful. And you could understand this. Imagine your team, for example. You want them to be able to think strategically and add value and think smart. You obviously want a team to execute because that's the reason why they're there, but you want to do it in such a way that they can build great relationships within the team and between teams, plus also influence where they need to in terms of their delivery, perhaps the market, perhaps customers, perhaps they're a support team to a sales department, and so forth. So elements of all 4 of these are really quite important, and a team really needs to understand which mixture of these 4 really is important for them to be successful in their context. So that's sort of what we would call a strategic level. The second way of thinking about this is obviously to look at the patterns. And I think, Margriet, you jump straight into that because that is the fascinating bit about team grids, is where do the strengths dominance lies? And you can see if you look at the percentages, this team is 40% executing, 36% relationship building, and then 11 and 13% influencing and strategic thinking, respectively. So we can start to think a little bit about, right, so what does that mean? And then the final level is that we can start to look at individuals, the individual layers. And so we can pick somebody like Katinas, for example, who is highly execution dominant, some relationship, but nothing in the influencing the strategic thinking space. So if we need a tennis to operate in terms of strategic thinking dominance, in terms of his top 5, he's not going to be a natural at that. So is there some way of partnering him, say, with somebody like a Christelle, who's strong at strategic thinking, but may not be as strong in execution? So you can start to see the team in 3 levels: strategic, in terms of the domains or categories, the patterns of where this thing lies, and then finally individuals and where we can partner them from a complementary point of view. I think it's just useful to know that there are 2 really key things to keep in mind here. One is, and I reiterate this again, we are not looking for a well-rounded or evenly distributed pattern. We're all unique individuals, and so that would be an unrealistic expectation. And the second rule of thumb, if we look at this team, they seem to be low on influencing. Does that mean they can't influence? No, it doesn't. It means that they just need to look at where they are strong and aim or intentionally use their strengths to achieve that as an outcome. So what we don't do is we don't dive straight into the team grid and go, oh, we don't have enough yellow, therefore we must fire everybody and go and hire more people with yellow strengths. That's not the message at all. The message is, how can we coordinate, manage, connect these people in such a way that they can play to their strengths and achieve great outcomes in terms of strategic thinking, influencing, relationship building, and execution. Yeah, so I think that managers need to understand that they are an incredibly important role now with virtual team management. Their role has never been more important in terms of reaching out and connecting, understanding their needs of each of the individuals in their teams, and being able to rearrange and use strengths in a way that makes sense. So if managers haven't or don't have a strength insight to their teams, I think they're in a very difficult situation. So they're important. They need greater insight, and it can't be business as usual. So what worked in the past is not going to work now. So we think the Clifton Strength Finder and the Team Grid is really a great call to action for managers, because it really gives them an insight on how to use the power and edge of their teams.